Amazon holds the largest biodiversity on the planet. So the Amazon is the home of hundreds of thousands of species, plant and animal species.
The Amazon is the world's largest tropical rainforest. It plays a vital role regulating the global climate.
In the Amazon, estimates are that between 100 and 120 billion tons of carbon are stored in the forest today.
But the Amazon is being destroyed at alarming new rates.
Enforcement has been drastically reduced on the ground in Brazil for illegal logging, for deforestation, for land grabbing, for all the environmental crimes.
We were never thinking that we will ever come back again to levels of deforestation close to 10,000 square kilometers.
So if deforestation continues at the current rate, we could reach this tipping point within 15 years.
15 to 30 years.
Those trying to save the Amazon are risking their lives.
People who stand up to illegal networks that are destroying the forest are being threatened, intimidated, attacked, and even killed.
Tonight on Four Corners, we take you to the heart of the Amazon, where you'll meet the people risking their lives to save the rainforest, as we investigate what can be done to stop the rapid destruction of one of the world's most important ecosystems.
Into Araíboia territory in Maranhão state in northeastern Brazil. This patch of the Amazon rainforest is an indigenous reserve. It's an oasis. All the surrounding land has been cleared by farmers and loggers over the last few decades.
Aqui a gente preserva a cultura.
Here we preserve the science, the culture, the language, the singing, the beliefs, the environment, the forest, all the animals.
Nearly 20% of the Brazilian Amazon has now been destroyed. Indigenous tribes are on the front line of trying to save what's left. The Guajajara people live here among the rainforest. In order to stop illegal loggers and farmers from entering their reserve, they formed a patrol unit called the Forest Guardians. The Guardians patrol for days and sometimes weeks on end.
We are fighting against the criminality. We are saying this is our resistance. We are painting ourselves to go fight.
The hardwood trees stolen from this protected reserve sell for up to $2,000 each.
This one here can be used for many household things. Tables, chairs, windows, doors, benches, to make houses, buildings. They take everything overseas.
The Forest Guardians are not just protecting the rainforest. This reserve is home to the world's most threatened, uncontacted tribe. The Awa people are one of only 2 nomadic hunter-gathering tribes left in the Amazon. This video, filmed last year, not far from where we are now, captures the moment an Awa man was spotted in the forest.
A vida dos Awa só Deus sabe, mas
The life of the Awa only God knows about.
eles não andam mais no local.
They are now restless. They are no longer in peace in their land due to the noise of the loggers. They are being pushed, squeezed.
There are believed to be about 80 Awa people living within the Guajajara Reserve. These are the remains of an Awa camp the Guardians stumbled upon while on patrol.
Tudo isso aqui é frio. Se não tiver a mata. É isso que a gente precisa.
What we need is to protect these indigenous people. Leave them be what they want to be. This is their tradition.
Their survival is threatened terribly by loggers because they live in the most pristine areas on the Amazon in Maranhão, and that's where the loggers want to get to. And if there is contact, the consequences will be, horrendous.
Last year, the world watched in horror as large swathes of the Amazon went up in flames. Fires here happen every dry season when farmers clear land. But in August 2019, more than 30,000 fires burned across the Brazilian Amazon. A 200% increase from the previous year, the vast majority of them deliberately lit.
In the Amazon, fire is a man-made fire. It's a part of the deforestation process.
First, the illegal loggers start entering the territory. They remove the trees that have more value in the market, which are not all the trees, and then it's time to remove the rest of the forest. So this process of removing the forest that's left there, it's a process that uses the fire, usually, because it's cheaper. And then after the fires, then you can start a new activity, which is going to be probably cattle ranching, and after some years it could be also turned into some agriculture land with soya or any other grains.
A decade ago, Brazil was being praised for its efforts to preserve the Amazon. Then, in late 2018, the country elected a new right-wing government under President Jair Bolsonaro. A climate change skeptic, Bolsonaro campaigned on a platform of developing the Amazon and getting rid of environmental protections. By January 2020, deforestation in the Brazilian Amazon had soared 85%. With more than 9,000 square kilometres of rainforest destroyed, the highest rate in at least 10 years.
We were never thinking that we will ever come back again to levels of deforestation close to 10,000 square kilometers. It's really a sign of losing control. And it's more disturbing because the reaction of the government to this increase has not been like fighting the deforestation itself, but actually fighting with numbers and fighting with the people that are actually trying to help to control the deforestation.
They knew the date was.
Ricardo Galvão was the head of Brazil's National Space Research Institute.
Yeah, the president did not like that the data was available.
In June last year, the Institute's data began to show that the Amazon was being cleared at rapid new rates. President Bolsonaro accused Mr. Galvão of falsifying the records.
I almost fainted when I heard that. I tell you why, because, in the scientific community, to say that a scientist is lying about his research is very serious.
The Minister of Science and Technology told Mr. Galvão he should resign, but he refused.
He said, that the president wants your head, You cannot stay in the government anymore. But I know that you are not going to resign, so I will take the charge to dismiss you myself. That's what he did.
How did it feel to have them just fire you like that?
That's a hard question, because maybe you have to ask them. I myself, as a Brazilian, I felt very sad, actually, because I never expected the president to say so openly and so bluntly against science, actually.
You've spent your life
Brazilian scientist Carlos Nobre was a lead author of the groundbreaking IPCC report into climate change, which helped win the organisation the 2007 Nobel Peace Prize.
I mean, I would never predict in my scientific career, even 5 years ago, that the anti-science movement would be growing in the world. In the world. I mean, this is something hard to believe.
President Bolsonaro has slashed the budget of environmental agencies, reduced the number of field agents that are on the field. IBAMA, which is Brazil's main environmental agency, had 1,800 field agents a decade ago. These are agents that do everything, any environmental crime, and now it has fewer than 800 for the whole country.
The loggers around Guajajara territory operate with impunity.
We've just stopped at this location, just 30 kilometres from Guajajara land. Now, they've told us that just over this fence, there's an illegal timber mill.
In fact, Human Rights Watch reported this facility to local police nearly 2 years ago. It's too dangerous for us to go closer and film, but as we can see from the drone, it is still operating.
The destruction of the rainforest is big business. It's done by criminal networks that usually have armed militias, armed men to protect their business, that often involve corrupt officials. Being a defender of the Amazon is really dangerous. People who stand up to illegal networks that are destroying the forest are being threatened, intimidated, attacked, and even killed.
One month before we visited the Guajajara, 26-year-old forest guardian Paulo Paulino came across illegal loggers in the forest. They shot him dead. We find his father José in a nearby town.
Aí o cara atirou assim nele aqui, ó, atravessado assim, ó, que o tiro atingiu o pulmão e o coração, e caiu na mesma hora.
No one has been arrested over Paulo's death.
Não tem justiça, não tem pessoa que toma providência disso aí. É por isso que eu tô dizendo, é por isso que o branco acha bom matar nós, índios, porque não tem justiça, não tem pessoa que toma providência disso aí. Se matar um índio é mesmo que matar um cachorro sem dono. Lembrando muito, muito mesmo do meu filho.
A logger was also killed when Paulo's fellow forest guardians returned fire, and the Guajajara villagers now live in fear of revenge.
Protection is what we want. We want the justice system to do something about what is happening today. They want to finish with us, the indigenous people and our leadership, for us to retreat and be afraid and stop fighting against them. But it doesn't intimidate us. As one dies, others rise.
As we leave Guajajara land, we hear that a convoy of indigenous leaders has been ambushed by gunmen, not far from the area we had just been. 2 members of the tribe are killed, fires on nearby farms continue to burn. We're now travelling into Para State, which has the highest rates of illegal land clearing in the Amazon. It's very remote out here. The roads are unsealed and there's no phone signal. We're told that the logging trucks that keep passing us are controlled by criminal networks.
We've now driven more than 2 hours out of town, and we've seen more than 8 logging trucks piled up with freshly cut trees. They've driven past us, but where we are in this really isolated spot, it's just not safe for us to be seen filming them as they drive past.
Travelling with us is Francisca Silva de Quadros. She's taking us to the home of her late sister, Dilma Ferreira Silva, a well-known environmental campaigner who was killed last year.
Tá entendendo? Logo, nós duas era muito unida, nós duas. Dói muito, a gente sente muita falta dela.
After several hours, we arrive at Dilma's house. It was here last March that she was brutally murdered.
Aqui estava o corpo dela, aqui, que era o quarto dela. E no outro quarto lá estava o do esposo dela. E na sala estava o do amigo dela.
The 43-year-old mother and her friends were tortured before they were killed.
Quero justiça.
Dilma's crime was reporting illegal logging. Her crime was defending the forest, and then she paid with her life. The investigation is showing that a local landowner was involved in illegal logging, possibly also drug trafficking, and he was sending his logging trucks through a road that went, in front of Dilma's house.
While the farmer has been arrested, Francisca is not confident justice will be delivered. And she's terrified she'll be targeted for speaking out.
E o que a gente tem é medo, que eu tenho medo. Tive que abandonar minha casa, tive que ir embora. Hoje eu vivo nas casas. Vivo trocando de cidade com medo, porque eu tenho medo.
Over the past decade, more than 300 Brazilians have been murdered while trying to protect the rainforest.
There has always been an enormous level of impunity for those killings. We have a government that has undermined law enforcement in the Amazon, and in fact, effectively given a green light to criminal networks that are both destroying the forest and attacking anyone who stands up to defend it.
We want to find out more about how these illegal timber networks operate. We begin a 2-day drive west across the Trans-Amazonian Highway, passing through dozens of small logging and farming towns.
When you go to these logging towns in the Amazon, everybody knows, everybody who lives there, they know who the logger is, who is the person who is occupying illegal land and land grabbing. Everybody knows them. Everybody sees the logging trucks.
There are loggers in the Amazon who have government permits to cut down specific trees. The owner of this door factory insists this wood is legal. But out the back, we find a different timber yard dealing with a suspicious amount of valuable hardwood.
The system that controls timber logging has lots of loopholes, and one of them, for instance, is that sometimes the state will allow removing timber from one area, and then this permission is used to remove timber from another area. And this area can be like a protected area, indigenous land.
Some of the Amazon's trees end up in decks and in flooring in Europe, the US, Japan, and even Australia. More than $75 million of Brazilian timber products are imported by Australian businesses each year.
Is it possible to have a clean supply chain for timber, for logging in the Amazon?
Right now, it's very hard to say that the supply chain is clean. It's hard to say that any timber that comes from Brazil is legal, has a legal origin.
We turn off the Trans-Amazonian Highway and head south down Brazil's BR-163, the highway credited with opening up the Amazon for development.
The main driver of deforestation in all of the Amazon are roads. And when you pave a road, existing road, then the deforestation rates increased a lot. That's the way people come and access undisturbed forests and start doing land grabbing.
In the 80s, Brazil's military government paid thousands of families from the south to settle here along the highway.
That plan was to bring hundreds of thousands of people as settlers, and the idea was remove the forest and start cattle ranches.
Today, the destruction of the rainforest fans out alongside the BR-163. We're heading to Novo Progresso, a cattle and logging town. It's infamous for the threats environmental agents receive when they visit.
Novo Progresso is one of many logging cities and towns in the Amazon, and is controlled by a local elite that is involved in illegal business. Some of these criminal networks that operate there have armed men that their job is to threaten, intimidate, and kill.
The people of Novo Progresso believe they have God on their side. Today, the town is celebrating its patron saint.
Viva Santa Luzia! Viva Santa Luzia! Viva nossa padroeira!
Like most families in this town, Deputy Mayor Gelson Dill resettled here from southern Brazil to farm cattle. He says his constituents are decent, God-fearing people.
Did you see anyone here who looks like a criminal? Have you seen anyone carrying a gun on their belts? Everyone here is harmonious.
Most people here are cattle farmers. Locals are proud of the industry they've carved out of the rainforest. Beef is what they live, eat and breathe. "78% of the town voted for President Bolsonaro."
Essa expressiva votação para o presidente Bolsonaro.
This overwhelming vote for Bolsonaro was because when he was a federal MP, he supported us with our issues inside the Congress. I hope that President Bolsonaro will do justice for these people, for the farmers incorporated into the conservation areas.
Gelson Dill believes previous governments have unfairly punished farmers in the Amazon. The Deputy Mayor is among many here fined for illegal land clearing.
Everything results in environmental fine. Whether you like it or not, it's a great injustice done to the farmers of this region. Why only now is there a concern with the Amazon?
The Deputy Mayor says local producers have benefited from a massive jump in demand for beef from China.
Today, the Chinese market has led to growth in the value of the Brazilian cattle.
The biggest country that buys from Brazil is China, which buys about a third of Brazil's beef exports. And we're seeing that that's growing. Exports overall are up a third. As the demand goes up, then they are moving into sort of frontier areas where there's more deforestation in order to, get the beef that they need.
We are on our way into Xamoxin National Park, a massive conservation area next to Novo Progresso. Cutting down the rainforest here is forbidden. If farmers break those rules, they can be placed on an official embargoed list, banning them from selling cattle or crops produced on illegally cleared land.
This is meant to be a conservation area, but there are dozens and dozens of farms that have set up inside this park illegally. Now, we've been given the GPS location of this property because it is meant to be under embargo. That is because they have illegally cleared the rainforest for their farming. So we're here to see if there's any evidence of if they're still operating or not.
We put a drone up and can spot a large herd of cows on the embargoed land. Clearly, they are still in business.
What does that mean when there's still cattle on a farm that's been placed under embargo?
These farmers that still have the cattle in the embargoed area, they are counting on impunity. They know that they can still do an illegal activity in an area that's restricted, that's embargoed, that nothing is going to happen to them.
The biggest buyer of beef from the Amazon is the Brazilian company JBS, the world's largest meat supplier. It signed pledges to try and reduce deforestation, but experts say the company is still driving the destruction of the rainforest.
What we find is that through those purchases, they're actually linked to between 24 and 29,000 hectares of deforestation risk. It's not very difficult to get around the monitoring. because there's widespread what is called laundering, where cows are moved from one property to a second. The first property had recent deforestation, but once they're on the second property, then they look clean because the system only checks the last guy who sold to the slaughterhouse.
There is something else in Zhama-Shin National Park we have come to investigate.
Now, more than 100 kilometres deep into the park is a massive new illegal clearing of land that's just happened in recent months. Now, we just can't go up that road because it's too dangerous. It's controlled by loggers. But the evidence of what is happening here is clear from above.
From April to June last year, more than 15 square kilometres of rainforest was destroyed.
And it's like more than 1 million trees.
So 1 million trees in 2 months.
Yeah. It's difficult to imagine, right? Because if you divide like 1 million trees for 60 days, we're talking about like, dozens of thousands of trees per day, and it looks like unrealistic, but that's how the things works. You have like 30, 40, even 50 people with chainsaws cutting down the forest here. So it's massive and fast.
Experts sent hundreds of alerts to Brazil's environmental agency, calling on them to intervene, but nothing was done.
Every day they sent between 15 and 17 warnings, and IBAMA sent 0 law enforcement agents throughout this 3 months period. And there were absolutely almost no action to counter that illegality.
After the massive area in the national park was illegally cleared, it was set alight. This was just one of the 30,000 fires burning across the Amazon last August that caught the world's attention. The people of Novo Progresso were responsible for hundreds of these blazes. Locals here even organised a day of fires, where vast areas of forest were deliberately set alight at the same time.
The day of the fire was an attempt by these criminal networks operating in Novo Progresso to attract the attention of President Bolsonaro. And their message was, yeah, we are here and we want to work. And what they mean with that is we want to cut down the trees. We want to set it on fire. We want to have cattle here and sell it, to the world.
They were really making a political statement, creating a fire day, a deforestation day, just to celebrate what they thought to be a new era for the Amazon, an era without any control. But all signs coming from the Amazon are that deforestation continues to go up, and that these criminals, they are feeling empowered, and that they are feeling that the risk of punishment is almost 0.
Local authorities say they are powerless to protect the rainforest. Conrado Wolfring is Novo Progresso's police chief.
Se a dimensão você vê já que o estado da região aqui já foi todo devastado e ainda continua sendo devastado na presença perto do IBAMA. Então eles sabem a movimentação do policial de longe. Com rádio eles passam um rádio e movimenta toda a madeira ilegal, eles conseguem burlar a fiscalização.
Chief Wolfring says criminal logging networks are colluding with local politicians and have even infiltrated his force.
Infelizmente nós temos suborno às vezes de policiais e policiais envolvidos nisso, recebem propina, políticos que ganham dinheiro com isso. Então fica difícil você combater uma coisa quando as pessoas que têm que combater também fazem parte. Nós somos ligados ao executivo, aos políticos. Se nós investigarmos, nós podemos ser transferidos, né? Muita gente fez fortuna e faz fortuna com a destruição da Amazônia. E isso daí, A pessoa não mede esforços. Se precisar tirar uma vida, ela tira.
In 2017, the leader of a nearby community settlement, a man called Alan Kerr, made a YouTube video claiming politicians in Novo Progresso wanted to kill him for his reporting of illegal land grabbing.
E eles estão articulando para me matar, mas eu não tenho medo de nenhum deles. Vamos continuar o trabalho porque o trabalho é honesto.
A year after filming this, the father of 6 was shot dead.
O Alenquer levou mais de 30 tiros. E o Alenquer falou para mim, companheiro, eu sei que eu vou morrer, mas se eu morrer, não deixa a minha morte em punho.
Maria Marcia de Mello is Alan Kerr's successor. The 42-year-old grandmother is convinced she is next.
Eu tenho consciência que eu vou morrer. Qualquer hora eu posso levar um tiro, né, mandado, porque eles são tão covardes que eles não vêm, eles mandam. Né, eles mandam. Então, quanto mais eles me faz eu ficar com medo, mais eu vou gritar.
Maria Marcia accuses Deputy Mayor Gelson Dill and his associates of making death threats against her.
O Gelson é uma pedra no nosso caminho. Quer fazer as pessoas calar a boca na marra. O único que ele não fez calar a boca foi eu. E é tudo uma máfia organizada. E muito perigosa. Eu foi por milagre de Deus, né?
What do you say to those allegations?
Desconheço.
I don't know anything about that.
As we head further down the BR-163 highway, we enter northern Mato Grosso state. Here, the destruction of the Amazon is almost complete, replaced with soy fields. Brazil is now the world's largest producer of soybeans, doubling its production of the grain in the last decade. These beans aren't for tofu or soy milk. 80% of Brazil's soy is exported to China as animal feed for poultry, pig and cattle farms.
Se não fosse o aumento do consumo chinês, também nós não podíamos aumentar a produção. Eles, na verdade, eles não têm uma preocupação ambiental, assim.
Farmers are flouting an international agreement signed more than a decade ago that was supposed to stop newly deforested land being made into soy crops.
Farmers clear land with the expectation that they will then grow soy on it in the future. Because what soy is a really profitable crop, and it now covers 34 million hectares of land. That's an area that's larger than the size of Finland.
Not far from the soy fields, the Kayapo tribe are hanging on to their last piece of the Amazon.
Olha aí o rio limpo e o rio sujo aqui. Olha, ele corta certinho aqui assim. Só no rio Pichachá a gente já percebeu que a soja já matou alguns peixes. É por causa do agrotóxico que eles jogam na soja.
They're already surrounded by soy and cattle farms and terrified of the prospect that more forest could be lost.
Porque o verde está acabando. Queremos manter esse verde ainda para podermos respirar ainda. A mata acabando, o clima vai ficar quente, o vento vai ficar quente. E, então, cada vez mais a gente vai estar sofrendo esses climas que está diferente. Então, é melhor vocês não poderem vir.
Inyo kukulaja de bale. Alinyo kukulaja. Inyo, ye meu inyo kukulaja.
Chief Irio is worried that the destruction of the forest has already started to affect the local climate. For decades, scientists have warned of an Amazon tipping point, the moment at which the forest begins emitting more carbon than it absorbs and no longer generates the rainfall it needs to survive.
This post-deforestation climate, in parts of the Amazon, southern portion of the Amazon, they would become savanna-like climate, no longer a forest-like climate. The duration of the dry season would become too long to maintain a forest. And we are seeing that happening, and we hope we have not crossed the threshold. We hope we have not already flipped into this new irreversible state of savannization. It's irreversible. We talk about 20-25% total deforestation. We are at 17% now. We are, let's say, 15 to 30 years into exceeding this tipping point.
So if deforestation continues at the current rate, we could reach this tipping point within 15 years?
15 to 30 years.
And that would mean that the Amazon could no longer generate the rainfall it needs to be the Amazon?
Yes.
We know how to preserve and to decrease deforestation in the Amazon. We have shown that in the past. And it's the most important is that you need the political will and to join forces with government, civil society, and business to do it.
Even if the will is found, there's the risk that global warming could still spell disaster for the Amazon.
If global warming continues unabated, then the savannization will occur when we cross this other tipping point, which is 4 degrees warming. So the most difficult challenge for our civilization in the last 10,000 years is how to avoid bringing the Earth to the brink of losing civilizations. In 22nd, 23rd century, it's a different planet. It's a hothouse, never seen in tens of millions of years.
President Bolsonaro has recently introduced legislation that would open up indigenous reserves for commercial mining. But the guardians of the forest say they will fight to the death to protect the Amazon.
Se for para morrer pelo território, a gente está aqui para proteger o que é nosso por direito. Estamos prontos para combater. Se for para morrer por causa das nossas reservas, nós estamos prontos para isso, estamos prontos para combater.
Me bengu kleo temali ne te I kot ka benyale ba me ba I no tei ne ge ku be me ye piao me yo ba piao ge ba mali me ne am ka jin ba me ku ni mai ka benyale